Well, since I'm dressed all pretty and everything, and since the show this morning got so much response, and I am so impressed with the response, by the way. I wasn't sure what kind of response I was going to get. But wow, have you guys really stepped up and shared your stories with me from all over the country. And there were a few people questioning what I said this morning, especially about the drugs, the Lipitor, the blood pressure meds. Driving while, actually now I understand DUI can also mean driving while impaired. And again, these I words, impaired, intoxication, influence, they all start with I, but they kind of are subjective in meaning. Now, it's pretty easy to tell when someone is intoxicated. I mean, we all have seen it. Some of us have been intoxicated. I know I have. I know when I am intoxicated. I know when people around me are intoxicated. But impaired, under the influence, that's very subjective. And when you give this power to police officers, well, let me just tell you something real quick, because there was a question asked about, well, Lipitor isn't a class 2 drug. I looked it up. It's not class 2. Okay, great. It's not. Doesn't matter. And I have a case to prove it. And it actually went to the Ohio Supreme Court. It's on the internet. You can Google it if you choose. It is also on my timeline on Facebook. It is State of Ohio versus Hammond. Now, wait till you guys hear this, right? Okay. 70-year-old man. 15 years ago, he had a stroke. This is from 2016, the appeals case. 15 years ago, he had 2 strokes. He walks with a cane. He is considered disabled, but he is allowed to drive a car. He is taking medication for blood pressure, for cholesterol, and for sleep. Yeah, sleep, pain, cholesterol, and blood pressure. And his wife testified he's been taking these drugs for 15 years. And they have never made him act weird or impaired him in any way. He's gotten used to them. He takes them to survive. He's 70. So one day in Ohio, he's driving down the road and he's a little heavy on the pedal. And he gets pulled over for speeding by a rookie police officer who, after 10 months on the job, was very excited to have just completed something called, wait, I had to write it down. Again, these are words I'm not used to. Let me get the glasses. He had just completed Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement, or A-RIDE. Kind of sounds like A-RIDE would be something that offers you a ride if you are impaired and you call them and you need a ride. But no, it's Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement. So he pulls this guy over for speeding, 70-year-old man, and this rookie police officer on the job for 10 months, just completing this course, telling him that in Ohio it's called OVI. This is a new one for you. Operating a vehicle while impaired or under the influence. That's a new one. Anyway, that's what it's called in Ohio. Maybe because Ohio starts with an O. They want to keep it simple when they arrest innocent people, elderly people who are on medication to save their lives. I don't know. Anyway, this poor man was pulled over for speeding. And this officer thought his eyes didn't look right. His pupils were a little dilated. So he did 4 field sobriety tests, even though he did not suspect alcohol abuse. He knew this guy hadn't been drinking. And again, remember when I said this guy had 2 strokes, walks with a cane? Well, some of the field sobriety tests he did involved this man walking. And the police officer was not satisfied. By the officer's determination, he arrested the man for OVI, operating a vehicle while impaired. And after a urine test, I got to read this again. I'm sorry, I don't like to read, but this is important. It's a real case, and this proves what I said this morning. The urine test showed presence of prescription medication, which it was later found he had been taking for 15 years. And the prescription medication was blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, and a pain medication. Okay, here's what happened. And here's the law in Ohio, anyway. The state must prove, if they arrested this man. They arrested this 70-year-old man based on this this 10-month rookie officer who had just finished this training, his observations of this man. They arrested him. And he went to court. He was convicted. And this man fought. It went to the appeals court. Here's what happened at appeals court. First of all, the law says that the state must prove a nexus, N-E-X-U-S, a nexus between the drug and impairment. Evidence of how the drug affects that person. Now, while the OVI prohibits impaired driving while under the influence, they are not wishing, according to the law, to criminalize driving while taking blood pressure or cholesterol medicine unless, capital letters, unless that drug negatively affects driving ability. Who decides that? Obviously, this rookie police officer, who is not a doctor, not a nurse, he decided. Well, what the appeals court decided was the police officer actually was not an expert on this issue. The gentleman's wife testified that he had been on the drugs for 15 years, had never had an accident, had never had any issues with the drugs before. And apparently the appellate court, thankfully for this poor man, and again, look at the hell he went through. Simply for getting up that morning, taking the medicine to keep him alive, getting in his car, and oops, going a little fast, maybe doing 40 in a 35 or 30 in a 25, I mean, who knows. But again, because of an overzealous police officer looking to make an arrest, after just receiving his training in how to arrest people for this very thing, decides he's going to make a name for himself. So the appellate court ended up overturning the conviction. This man is free and clear. He cleared his good name. And they basically said that the police officer was not an expert in how these drugs affect people, and he had no business making that determination or arresting this gentleman in the first place. Wonder if the police officer still got his bonus for another OVI arrest. It's something to ask yourselves. And tomorrow's show, two viewers brought me two excellent topics to talk about tomorrow. And they both, again, I love connecting the dots and drawing circles. So tomorrow we're going to connect more dots on this subject and on another one as well. And so one viewer brought me this topic, and I love the name. It's a blog, and you can read it. It's on my Facebook page because she shared it on the video from this morning. You can read the blog ahead of time to know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. It's called Busy Bullies. How people who simply don't like your behavior can run to the nanny government, and if they get enough people to run to the nanny government about the behavior they don't like, they can ban it. They can make you stop doing it or try to get you to stop doing it because it's not good for you. So that's tomorrow. And also tomorrow, thank you, first of all, to all the wonderful people who have come out in support of my show this morning. I will tell you that the people that I interviewed for this show were nervous. They didn't necessarily want this show broadcast. They were concerned that people would judge them. And I am happy to report, and they will be happy when they watch the show, to see all the support and all the other people who have also, all over this country and in Canada, where I have just found out that drinking and driving in Canada is a felony. Basically, you murder your wife, you're charged with a felony. You drink and drive, same deal. You're in big trouble. Damn. And I thought Bulgaria was bad. Guess I don't want to go to Canada either, even if I do want to escape Donald Trump. Just wondering. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this case to you because when somebody questions my facts, I like to back them up. And while the viewer who said that Lipitor is not a class 2 narcotic, they might be correct on that. However, right here we have a Supreme Court, a state Supreme Court case, Ohio versus Hammond, that was about this very thing. A 70-year-old man arrested because he took his blood pressure medication and his cholesterol medication. Whether it was Lipitor or not, I don't know. But it was for cholesterol and blood pressure. And he was arrested, and he went through hell. And then, luckily, and good for him, he cleared his name. Because a 10-month rookie cop, 10 months on the job, who just finished his training and was told, go out there and nail those prescription drug abusers who were taking pills every morning with their grape nuts to stay alive. Go get them. Bring them in. We'll prosecute them. The appellate court said, officer, you are not an expert on this issue. This gentleman is free to go. His name is cleared. His conviction is overturned. Again, I wonder if that Ohio police officer got his bonus or not. I wonder if it's kind of like when you're working on commission and then the person returns the product, you lose your commission. Wonder if he lost his commission. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. About a town in Georgia where police officers are actually paid per DUI arrest. The more people they can bring in for DUI, they get bonuses. Can you imagine? Do any of you guys who enjoy a glass of wine with dinner, with your pasta primavera, do you want to have dinner in that town in Georgia? We're going to talk about it tomorrow right here on Political Paula. I hope you tune in. For now, Political Paula is out.